For people to understand our dynamic, right? Jarrett Stidham obviously went to Auburn, transferred there from Baylor. We had the opportunity to be coached by the same guy, Coach Gus Malzahn. And during my time in New England, Jarrett Stidham was always the one with him and Brian Hoyer. They were always prepared. Always understanding who the mic is, understanding the verbalization of the playbook, and just riddling off plays, finishing plays before it's even coming in. He was always the guy that guys would go to check their answers. Hey, am I right here? Hey, what do I got right here? The issue was, how does it translate to the game? Then you start to say, hey, how does Jarrett Stidham handle the what ifs? What if his first option is not there? What if the pocket collapses? What if it's not a perfect situation for him to be good? Great. That's my biggest question mark. And understanding, does he have the skill set? Yes. Can he make all the throws? Yes. But it's something that is about the what ifs that concerns me the most as this game approaches.
That's the cool part. It's the what ifs. Jarrett Stidham has no expectations. Nobody knows how this is going to look, including the New England Patriots. That's what's fun. What Cam left out is, right, as Cam, huge recruit, thought of highly talented. Do you know where Jarrett Stidham was ranked when he was coming out of high school? He was the top dual threat quarterback along with Kyler Murray. Do you know where Jarrett Stidham was on Mel Kiper's big board headed into his last year at Auburn? He was at the top. He has talent. He don't have to go and be great for 18 games. We just need you to be good for 60 minutes. And if you're good for 60 minutes, we're worried about the next 60 minutes if we get there in 2 weeks. When Jarrett Stidham started 2 years ago, which Stephen A. loves to point out, he didn't go in the game and they said, we're going to hand it off a million times. He threw 66 passes. He threw 32 in one game, 34 in another game. He threw for over 220 yards in each of those games. Sean Payton ain't scared to play with this dude. He's not scared to put him in the game. He bids Russell Wilson for him. Now, to think that they're going to be the exact same team without Bo Nix is, like I said yesterday, it's disrespectful because of Bo Nix, his talent, his athleticism, what he's able to do above the X's and O's. But along with what Denver can do defensively, to believe that this team can't go win is foolish. And I think that Sean Payton feels the exact same way too.
Well, that sounds nice, and I get where you're coming from. But the problem, RC, and you'll appreciate where I'm coming from, and put RC up on the screen because I want to see him when I'm saying this. There is a defense coach in that defense, Terrell Williams. We ain't mentioned him all year long. Reunited with Mike Vrabel, used to be with him in Tennessee. This man has done a hell of a job with a defense that's ranked top 5 in the National Football League. Okay, because we gonna give brothers credit on this show. And that brother's doing his thing. And the thing about it is that you got to throw different looks because of what Cam Newton just said. What about the what ifs? And I'm saying to you, nobody is saying Jarrett Stidham. I want to be clear about this, Cam. Nobody's saying that Jarrett Stidham can't play. Nobody's saying he doesn't belong in an NFL roster. We're not even saying that under normal circumstances he couldn't do the job. What we're talking about is a guy that hasn't thrown a pass in 2 years. It's more than doubled. The amount of games where you haven't thrown a pass. Joe Webb with Minnesota, if I remember correctly, back in 2012, went like 370 days without throwing a pass before he was inserted into a wild card playoff game. Jarrett Stidham's at 749, 750. And what I'm saying to y'all, football players, all world players, champions, RC, what I'm saying to y'all is, and I'll ask the question, if you were in an AFC championship game, 60 minutes away from a Super Bowl berth, and the roadblock to your success of capturing that was a dude that hadn't thrown a pass in over 2 years in an NFL game, you telling me, RC, you wouldn't be salivating at the mouth? Looking forward to getting at him, because you're doubting that you're assuming Russ. You ain't even questioning the skills. You're talking about Russ, chemistry, cohesiveness, all of these things that come with it. You're not telling me that you wouldn't feel, you would be looking at it like, we can't let this cat stop us from getting to the Super Bowl. Oh, hell no. We got to make his life a living hell. That's all I'm saying. I'm not talking about Jarrett Stidham as a player. I'm talking about him as somebody who's been inactive for that lengthy period of time. And the first time you show up is in an AFC championship game, you're New England Cam Newton. I said this, and I'll say it again. You better not lose this game. You better not lose this game with a backup quarterback going against you. I don't give a damn what else that Denver got to do. You better not, don't let it be you. You better make sure there's a bunch of pick six that Denver records or whatever. It better not be because that brother comes out on the field and throws for over 300 yards and flinging touchdowns all over the place and picking your defense apart. A backup quarterback that ain't playing 2 years? Hell no. You know it, New England. You better not lose that damn game. I'm telling you that right now. It better not happen.
The thing we have to think about with the New England Patriots is, too, we've been so focused on Drake Maye. We haven't talked about the disrespect this defense has felt. Going into the game against the Los Angeles Chargers, everybody's on Jesse Minter, the new head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, and Derwin James, and what this defense could do, how they can bring pressure, the way that they can disguise on the back end, and you find a way to go out and dominate that game, holding Justin Herbert to only 3 points. And you think about how this defense has had to adjust this year. I know you mentioned Terrell Williams, but Terrell Williams has been sick the entire year. So Zach Kerr had to step in the middle of this season and become the play caller when he wasn't expected to be the play caller. And now with Milton Williams back and Christian Barmore being freed up, Gonzalez and Davis being exactly who you want them to be, that's what this team is riding coming into this game. Nobody, Stephen A., is saying that we expect Jarrett Stidham to dominate against this New England Patriots defense. As a matter of fact, at 3:30 today, we sit down with Marcus Jones, who had the pick six against the Houston Texans. And all he talked about was we're approaching it the same way. The way Mike Vrabel makes every message be the same exact thing every week, no matter who's playing the quarterback. And that when we make plays and when we turn the football over, we're going to celebrate as a team. That's what they're focusing on. But Sean Payton's saying the same thing in his locker room. Sean Payton's been saying the same thing since Bo Nix went down. And I get what you're saying. You better not lose. That puts the pressure, in my opinion, on the New England Patriots, the team who supposedly had the easiest schedule this entire season, the team that nobody's given credit for beating the teams they beat the last 2 weeks, the team that now we're all of a sudden saying we riding with you because Jarrett Stidham is on the other side. They supposed to win this game. And probably for the first time probably in a long time, that's what they walk into the stadium with.
That's absolutely true, and I appreciate you clarifying that stuff about Terrell Williams. I'm aware that he stepped away in September, what have you. I know that he stayed in contact with the team, and Zach Kerr was play calling, but they said he's still been involved in talking to the team, calling plays, not calling plays during the game, but he's been actively involved. So I appreciate that clarification because I don't want people to think I didn't know that the brother stepped away because of his illness at the time. But let me say this to you: all of them have been actively involved, and major props to him, major props to Zach Kerr, and all of that. You're a top 5 defense. I'm saying, again, you're going up against a backup quarterback who hasn't been active in 2 years. There is no defense that I've ever known of in the National Football League whose confidence wouldn't elevate exponentially if you're going up against anybody that's been inactive for a couple of years. Remember how we talked about Phillip Rivers and props to him? But he was going for 5 years. Obviously, that's an even lengthier time.
Yeah.
But we talked about it for 5 years. And what we said was, Phillip Rivers, damn, we know he could play. We know this guy's on, being consideration for a Hall of Fame. But you've been going that long. Now, he showed us something a little different, props to him. But all of us were scared to death for him. Why? Because he hadn't been there. Now, that's different because he was home coaching high school and doing all of this other stuff where Jarrett Stidham was on an NFL roster just as a backup. But the point is, inactivity matters. And if you have not been there, if you have not been present, if you haven't been throwing that football, to go up against an elite team under the biggest of circumstances, a Super Bowl berth on the line, my point is not about Stidham. It's not even about Denver. It's about New England. If you are what we think you are, what your 14-3 record has led us to believe, you cannot lose this game. You